Welcome to Los Caballeros Sports Village in Fountain Valley, California for the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball. Dave Vincent alongside David Fink as our director gets us ready for Charlie Shanks up against E Ft Peixoto. Hopefully we'll get our headphones, or I should say our headsets turned down, Dave. And when I say hopefully down, I mean like way down. Getting a little bit of feedback here in the broadcast booth as we have our referee Dane Zatkowski. Perfect. Thank you. Back to the satellite van. Fountain Valley, California. It's, you know, unbelievable weather here, Dave. I mean, it's almost too warm. That's how good it is.
Absolutely perfect out here. And Dave, this is the match that I had circled on my calendar last night when the quarterfinal matchups were announced. I mean, these two have an unbelievable rivalry. They're about the same age. They grew up playing against one another. E Ft Peixoto had never lost to Charlie Shanks up until 2012. And then it was Charlie Shanks winning 4 consecutive matches, including that match that you remember from the Race for A2 season in Denver, where Emmett had match point and Charlie hit the rollout, ended up winning that match. But then Emmett turned the table, defeated Charlie Shanks in a tiebreaker this year at the Nationals. So it's definitely a back and forth rivalry, and Dave, they have these great contrasting styles that really makes for exciting handball. Charlie's got, I think, the best serve in handball. Emmett is got the best legs in handball, and Emmett's also improved his offense, so he's shooting the ball with both hands from everywhere on the court. Emmett's actually my pick to win this tournament.
Well, Emmett's playing incredibly inspired handball. And he's up against Charlie Shanks. Now, you had these guys circled on your scoreboard. And that means that you felt that Shanks was going to defeat Sean Lenning?
Well, I did pick Shanks to defeat Lenning based on what I knew about Lenning's condition, but I did wait until last night when we had all 4 quarterfinal matches set before I circled this one. It's going to be tough to beat that Alvarado-Ortiz match, though, Dave. That was a thriller.
0-0.
That was pretty amazing. First tiebreaker of this one.
We want to congratulate Charlie Shanks and his amazing wife. They just had their first child 7 weeks ago, Dave, a baby girl.
I saw the pictures, and Charlie's what you say is a beaming father. Anytime you see somebody for the first time in almost a year and they say, you need to see the pictures here.
Yeah. Emmett looks really sharp here early in this first game, just hitting the ball so well, even off balance.
1 serve 0.
He's finding a way to just drive the ball. I know it's early here, Dave, but Emmett just completely in control. Charlie looks like his legs are a little heavy. Had a tough match last night, defeating Sean Lenning 21-20, 21-10. First game he trailed 14-20 and came back and just sort of broke Sean Lenning's spirit when he won that first game. But Dave, Charlie Shanks has been off the tour for over a year, and I'm not sure that he's really prepared for these back-to-back hard matches. When we last saw him on the tour, Dave, he ended the season at #1. Emmett just looks really good though right now, Dave.
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean,
Emmett looks like he's inspired like he used to be.
3 serve 0. Short.
well, Emmett's just looks really fresh. He's hitting the ball very well with both hands.
Second serve.
It's better, but you turned my microphone off. You didn't hear me, did you? I couldn't hear me. I can't hear him, but I couldn't hear me. So I'm going to flip into the other.
Emmett just totally dominating here, Dave.
Well, Emmett was inspired in
4 serve 0.
Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and I was saying at that point, I said, you know, this is that guy that was in 2008 in Seattle, or 2009, early 2009, and I thought,
serve.
this is the guy that we thought would be giving Paul Brady some fits. And it looks like the soon-to-be 32-year-old is back.
Actually just turned 32 last week.
Well, my timing's a little off.
Yeah. I know you like to send out your happy birthday wishes.
I do it, but I'd like to do it a couple weeks late.
0 serves 4.
I'd like for our director to
Hold it.
cue up the interview that we had
Yeah.
with E Ft Peixoto from Idaho, since we're on that subject.
0 serves 4.
It's on. Yeah, I turned it off because you were talking that one.
I am.
Short.
Make sure I have MS because I'm missing some.
I sent you the full.
Second serve.
Okay.
Everything.
Okay. Okay, I'll check that.
And that's the first error for E Ft Peixoto. Very strange. Charlie with the best serve in handball, and he gets his
One
first
serves
ace
4.
on an overhand 2-wall lob, and he'll go back to it now.
That's what smart players do.
Wow.
Oh, I like that shot, and Emmett gets it.
Does anybody else in handball get that?
And Emmett gets that one
Oh,
back.
no
That was even
way.
more hard. And Charlie just gives him a softball up there.
Oh,
How
my
does Emmett
gosh.
do that? And Emmett's claiming a slide there at the end, but my gosh, seriously?
And the thing about Emmett is this isn't going to wear him out playing points like that. He recovers quickly.
Well, I said this earlier when I was in the booth with Nikolai Nahorniak. I said, you know, you could be pushing guys around. Charlie could be pushing Emmett around, but that takes a lot out of Charlie,
Yeah,
too.
it
Even though he
does.
might not be making as many steps as Emmett, this is something where, you know, it does take a little bit out of you to push a
Yeah.
guy around like that. Emmett seems to be geared for that. Charlie, not so much.
Yeah.
And even though you're only taking 1 or 2 steps, it's 1 or 2 steps more than you really want to be taking.
Anytime you have to hit 10 shots in a rally, I mean, it takes a lot out of you.
Charlie only took about 10 steps that whole rally, but Charlie needs this break as well. The pace is what really gets to you when you play Emmett.
2 serves 4.
Talking to John Bike, Dave, a Hall of Famer, he said, you know, Emmett really seems to be playing steady ball right now. There were times when he just wouldn't be that consistent, you know, both with his shots and mentally. It seems like now
Bad bounce.
he's corrected that issue. A lot of that has to do with his family and his
2 serves 4.
wife, Jessica, who is very supportive, also very tough on him, Dave, and seems to benefit Emmett quite a bit. It was Charlie Shanks losing to Dermot Nash just about a week and a half ago at the Golden Gloves in Ireland, 11-9 tiebreaker.
4 serves 2. Short. Second serve.
Talked to Charlie, Dave. He said, I feel amazing today. He's got that dry wit, though, so you never quite know if he's being serious. Emmett's become like a ghost at these tournaments, Dave. You never see him unless he's on the court.
Check the ball, Emmett. 4 serves 2. Five serves 2.
Emmett had a disappointing 3-ball season by his standards, Dave. Losing in the quarterfinals in Toledo and then the finals in Vegas. He said to you that, I don't think I'm going to play 3-ball anymore. It's just too hard on my body and I don't have time to train the way I want to. So
6 serves 2.
looks like he's just going to focus on 4-ball now. I think that'll just make his 4-ball game even stronger.
Yeah, I do too. And I was thinking just, as I was talking to Nadi Alvarado, how Nadi said
Second serve.
big ball has saved his career. He feels like he's in the best shape of his life because he went over to big ball. And I thought, oh, I'm going to hear that same thing from Emmett. But Emmett was the opposite. He said, no, I went out to Toledo. I wasn't in great shape. I ended up bruising my wrist, scraping my hand,
Seven serves
tweaking
two.
my finger. And he said, when I got done playing, I was all injured. So you got two different perspectives there.
Well,
Second
small
serve.
ball 3-wall singles is far different from big ball 3-wall doubles.
That's true. One of them is very low impact. The other one is just about as brutal a game as you're ever going to play.
Well, speaking of brutal, Dave, this is a brutal start for Charlie Shanks, who's just getting completely dominated here. Shanks lost the first game to Emmett at the Nationals, came back and won game number 2 convincingly, and then lost the tiebreaker 11-5. I don't see any signs of Charlie Shanks winning a game unless he changes some things dramatically.
Charlie had a cross over Emmett's body there.
Dave, I'm seeing a lot of kind of punch, fist, kill shot attempts from Charlie instead of, a sidearm or Irish whip swing, and he's not that effective ending rallies with those fist shots.
8 serves 2. 9 serves 2. Time out. Somebody unlock the door.
First time out here for Charlie Shanks, who is not off to a good start. Emmett just totally dictating play here. He's in the front court. He's moving extremely well. And he's not just moving, but he's hitting great shots.
It's a Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball. Race for 8, stop number 1. And this is for the women and for the men. And then we have the senior stop here in a couple weeks in Tucson, Arizona. For those that are watching, if you want to get involved and play professional handball, we had a lot of people contact us. It's been, ongoing for a few years now. They say, I'm a pro player. I can beat Luis Moreno. I always get these emails of these guys saying that they can beat him. And I said, well, just, come to the event and play. I mean, if you want to be a pro player, it's easy. Go to r2sports.com and search handball. And once you're there, you'll see that you can go up against guys like Luis Moreno and Paul Brady. Paul Brady will be in Tucson, Arizona here in a couple weeks, as well as Emmett Peixoto, Sean Lenning, Dave Fink, and all the others that are touring on the Pro Tour. You could play as well. It's open to anybody that wants to play these guys. You have to get into the qualifier, and there's 8 qualifiers that will get put into the top 8. It's kind of an interesting format, but all you have to do is just win, and
Time is in.
you can get points. That's how it works.
And Dave, there are some changes this season to the tour, which we will announce in full
Second serve.
at some point next week. But a couple of those changes, Dave, include all matches in the main draw being 15-15-15, win by 2. Nice shot there from Charlie. And the qualifier now will be only playing off to the final 8, and then they'll blind draw into the top 8. You can't play the same person in the first round at any point during the season. So if you draw, say, Luis Moreno in the first round in Tucson, you won't be able to play him in the first round
Right.
for the rest of the season. Now that is a good thing if it's Luis Moreno. If it's somebody
It's
like
appealing a slide on
myself,
the left
it's
wall.
a bad thing.
Well, one agrees, one didn't see anything.
For the guy that you want to play, well, Dave,
Serving 10.
like you always do, you'll finish out the season better than you started it.
It's nice of you to say, but
Well, it's true. That's what happens. And there's another point for Emmett Peixoto.
10 serving 3.
Emmett has Portuguese blood in his system. His name, Emmett, comes from a Portuguese word which means universal fisherman of truth. Another point for Emmett Peixoto, now at 11-3, and his wife Jessica is also here watching courtside.
She's a fixture in the front row. She used to be very nervous watching Emmett. Now she seems more
11,
like a
serving 3.
Bill Belichick type. She's a tactician, Dave. She's actually watching for Emmett's tendencies and also the tendencies of his
serving
opponents and giving Emmett advice. And he listens.
As he should.
Serving 3.
Emmett running away with this first game here, Dave.
Replay.
Did you get a chance to see that Charlie Shanks Sean Lenning match last night, Dave? I know that you were milling around the outer courts.
Yeah, I did, and was able to watch that first game almost to its completion. Now, unfortunately, it was during your match against Luis Cordova, and I wanted to watch that as well. So I was toggling, as I often do, and they're on opposite sides of the facility. So, you know, when you're fat like me, you don't really want to run back and forth. So I made my trips very brief. But I came over and viewed as much as I could of Charlie Shanks and Sean, and really it was interesting because at about 13-13 tied, Sean Lenning went on this greatest run you've ever seen, the Sean Lenning of old.
Yeah.
Charlie scored one time in the middle of that run, but really it was all Sean Lenning, who got up to 20-14. Now remember, it was tied at 13.
Yeah.
At one point, Charlie was up 13-12. So now you see Sean at 20-14, and Charlie goes point, 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 side out. Sean smiling at the crowd after making a silly shot. Side out, point, point, point. And now you see it's, 18-19 to 20, side out again. Sean had a third attempt to win the match, or to win that first game. And then Sean's still kind of smiling at the crowd after making a silly shot. And then Charlie gets up there. Now, once they tied at 20, both of them made the most egregious mistakes at 20 that you've ever seen in your life.
Wow.
Sean, big fat wall setup after Charlie Shanks hits a ball to the front wall, to the back wall, down the middle, swing and miss.
Oh, no.
Charlie Shanks, big setup, right corner, Sean Lenning pinned to the left. Charlie dips it into the ground.
Oof.
Side out, Sean back in, smiling to the crowd again, hits a ball down the right side, hits the revolving door on a reverse hook. Charlie takes it with the left hand, flat rollout. Well, it's over, right? Nope. Sean Lenning comes in there, dive, re-kill to get back into the boot. You're wondering, who wants to win, who wants to lose here? Because they both don't want to. It was apparent that Shanks was able to climb that mountain, and then he wasn't able to put it away. 6 times Charlie served to get that final point and finally did do it. And then he won 21-20 in the next game. I did not watch, but it was somewhat of a blowout.
Yeah, it was bad. I did watch
21-10. He defeated Sean Lenning.
It was not a very high energy Sean Lenning in that second game.
So, the general scheme of things is, I watched it. It wasn't the outcome I thought would happen. I heard that Sean did sprain an ankle half a week back, but, those things do happen, and Sean told me right to my face, I feel great. Just yesterday, right before the match. So.
Was that in any way reminiscent of the time Sean Lenning led Dave Chapman 20-11 at the Nationals in the national final and just couldn't get that last point, lost 21-20 after he had 7 serves at 20 and then just kind of went away in the second game? It sounds somewhat similar to that.
Yeah, it is similar, actually.
Second to block any of your shots sitting there. Not going to be in the bottom of your shots. Okay, time is in. 13, serving 3.
Well, we're back here at 13-3 in the first game with Emmett doing what he has been doing here as of late, and that is really stepping it up. It's almost as if you can see the sense of urgency in Emmett saying, hey, wait a second. My whole career, people have been talking about me being that elite guy.
Wow. Ah, what a shot.
And I need to step it up now. Now it's time to actually become serious about this. And I think with him at Peixoto, the serious part is he's focusing on his
14,
off-court
serving
stuff.
three.
You see him really doing the warm-ups now. He said, I used to treat my body bad. Now I'm actually thinking about it. And I really do believe it's his wife, you know, that's helping. Because she's sharp, very sharp.
Well, we saw in that interview, you know, his wife goes out and makes sure he has his protein shakes and gets his workouts and gets him motivated when he's feeling like not doing anything.
Dave, you know that support at home makes everything better. And I know that you have it too. And
Yeah.
certainly I live off of it now. But, you know, when you get that support at home, you have somebody that's actually vested in your, you know, your arrangement with yourself that you have with, you know, where you want to go and all that stuff. And Emmett's truly got it, probably more than anybody on this planet. Nadia Alvarado Jr. obviously right there too, but this is night and day difference from Emmett, who was just supporting himself. Now he's got his wife to help him, and makes a big difference. 3-14. Look at that left-handed rollout. That's not what Charlie wants to do with that serve.
Well, Emmett just spreads out there so beautifully with his left.
14, serving 3.
Just hits that ball on a rope, 2 inches high.
Second serve.
Emmett Peixoto was very disappointed losing in the first round of the Players' Championship to Robbie McCarthy. Didn't play anything like this, I'll say that.
This is unreal.
Yeah.
I mean, he just hit a paddle
15,
shot into the
serving
right
3.
corner from 27 feet back, and it was perfect. That's not anything we've ever seen Emmett do.
And that's only Charlie's third kill shot here in this first game. He'll need a lot more of those.
3, serving 15.
I want to thank, as we have time here during this ceiling rally. I like when I see Emmett do that. Matt Tatiano and his work with the cameras, as well as Linda Manning and Chris Grad, Dave, doing such amazing work for our broadcast, as they always do.
Yeah, they're an incredible team. Emmett looked like he banged
4, serving 15.
his right knee into the side wall there. We'll see if that has any lingering effects. And Emmett now
Timeout.
will take a timeout,
1
and I
minute.
believe, Dave, this has something to do with banging that right knee into the wall. We'll take an instant replay of that. I'm not sure if we
5:15.
have that right now, but he went for the ball down the right wall and just seemed to get a little closer to the wall than he thought he would, and just clipped his knee into the wall. I saw him grimace and reach for it. He didn't move well in the next rally, and that's why he's called the timeout here. Let's see if we can get the cameras
5:15.
on him.
Well,
I don't think we can right now.
we might be able to. Here's the camera here. Now you see Bruce Fabrizio, owner of Simple Green, showing spectator in the crowd about that knee. That spectator just happens to be Vern Roberts, executive director of the USHA. You see Bruce straightening out his knee, pointing out the spot that it hit. And you know, some of the worst injuries are things like this. You know, when you get a hip pointer, dive for a ball, and all of a sudden your hip bone, your pelvis smacks the ground, and all of a sudden you say, you know what, I can't even hit a ball. This hurts. This is the worst pain
Let's
I've
see
ever
it
had.
right here. I don't know if he hyperextended or actually hit the wall there.
I didn't see the wall being hit, but these are the things that can end your tournament. You know, they don't look like they're major deals, but then that's never seems to be the ones that are. Nonetheless, Emmett leading here.
Okay, his score is 5, serving 15.
5-15 in game number 1 against Charlie Shanks.
Yep.
I don't
You're
think that's
messing with the
smart.
lock. Sorry, Charlie. 5 serves 15.
I thought that was a slide call from Emmett, and the referee agreed, but maybe not.
I think the score was 5 before the timeout. Dave, Charlie played only 2 tournament matches in the last 17 months dealing with kind of a hip
He's saying there's a bad
injury.
bounce off the back wall. He didn't see it. Side out.
Very hard to see those bad bounces off the back wall for a
15,
sideline
serves
ref.
5.
Amazing. Inside out, right corner kill, Nadi Alvarado Jr. style from E Ft Peixoto. That inside out sidewall kill, for
16,
some
serves
reason,
5.
it's just the muscles in your deltoids. Very hard to do. If you're a right-hander, try to hit into the right wall. Lefty, Dave, you do it a lot. It's part of your system, but you've got
Just wait for me to be done before
pretty
you
big
start your
shoulders.
swing.
But I've seen players
17,
try to hit
serves
that ball in the
5.
right corner, and they can't do it. But these elite dudes can. That's a nice crack kill from E Ft Peixoto. Now, if he starts incorporating that into his system, Dave, you better
18,
watch
serves
out.
5.
Well, his system is firing on all cylinders right now.
The bad bounce. Replay.
I didn't see that ball hit the camera hole, but
Broken.
Peixoto said it did.
Well, the ball was actually broken. And that's why it came up short.
Hey, Nada, you got another ball? I didn't.
You're watching
me
the
a
Simple
trick.
Green U.S. Open of Handball, WPH Race for 8, stop number 1 here
Oh,
in the
There
Great
you
Pacific
go.
Southwest.
didn't even know those were up here.
Southern California, Fountain Valley, where we have provided the live broadcast every single year since the inception in 2006. Dave, you were right there with us.
2006 actually motivated me to start playing handball again. I
Well,
watched
you were
it
with
from
us.
Well,
Tell us the story. And this is such a great one.
oh, isn't it just touching?
Yeah, well, let's start back when you were in your teens and still ranked in the top 10, but also a professional golfer at the time, and also playing high-level tennis at the time. You then severed your finger, got cut off, and you retired from the sport of handball,
I'll take him.
also the sport of golf and tennis for so many years. And
Actually,
then-
I know I kept playing golf and tennis.
Okay, but
Yeah.
but not at a high level because of the finger. But nonetheless,
Okay.
you were watching the live broadcast and you said, you know what, I might want to try this again. And you
Yeah.
made it all the way to number 2 in the rankings last year.
It's true. What a ride it was.
But it all started with this live broadcast from Fountain Valley, California.
Remember watching Nadi Alvarado come back in the first game against Paul Brady with that big fist pump to win the first game. He ended up losing the match, but that was amazing. And I said, I got to be a part of that. Here I am,
Wow.
8 years later.
Could you imagine if there was a major golf tournament on this weekend? We'd never even know your name.
Huh.
But here we are, though.
It's a replay.
In Fountain Valley, California. Replay of action. E Ft Peixoto serving here against
18,
Charlie
serving
Shanks. I would
5.
say it's one of his biggest foes. He doesn't agree. He thinks it's Sean Linning.
I didn't see a bad bounce.
That ball hit Emmett on the serve, and he's claiming it was a
He's
bad
saying
bounce.
Bad bounce, Tavi. You saw a bad bounce? You saw a bad bounce? Replay.
Charlie's not going to be happy here.
They both saw bad bounces off that glass.
I didn't even think the ball hit the glass.
Well, either way, he hit that literally straight
Or
back
is
at
18
himself. I
serving
don't-
5.
If it hits the glass, I mean, I don't know how a ball can
Short.
come back and hit you.
It would have had to have changed direction.
Second serve.
Would you?
Five serving 18.
5 to 18, and this is what they call in the business a shellacking.
Yeah.
Hold it.
The shellacker's actually on right now. It's shiny.
5 serving 18.
And look at how Emmett's set up. That ball only comes 2 feet off the back wall on the return of serve, and Emmett's behind it and just ready to just crush it. His technique is flawless now, Dave.
Yeah, no, it's
18 serving 5.
he's quite impressive. 18 to 5 is the score here. Want to give a shout out to the king, Connor Duff, watching this live broadcast from Ireland. And look at that shot from Emmett. Camera catches it right out of the the barrel of the shotgun there.
Over the top.
That's the stuff we saw from Emmett when he was 17, 18 years old, and we said, you know what, he's going to be
19,
the next
serving
best
5.
player on the planet. It's taken a while.
That's a rare error there from Emmett. But he took the right shot.
You know what? That's as I get older
Injury timeout.
and play handball.
Okay.
What?
Clock starting.
What is the injury here?
This looks like it could be a re-aggravation of what Charlie Shanks suffered just last year, where it's something with his hip bone or groin. I never had the official confirmation, but it was something in the lower body that prevented him from playing. And in fact, he entered a couple of race events last year and pulled out after entering because he said this just isn't ready to go. And it's something with a groin or a hip flexor. And you know, this, Dave, explains to me maybe why Charlie Shanks hasn't looked good. He's not moving, and when you're not moving, you're not in a good position to hit good shots. And not to take anything away from Emmett, but I don't think Emmett's.
But this is a pre-existing condition. That's not an injury.
Well, that's kind of on that
It isn't,
gray
though.
area.
No, it's pre-existing.
Huh.
It's the same spot that
Well,
he's had
I'm
troubles
just
with.
speculating, though.
Well, we can see he's laying on a
Yeah, but I'm
picnic table right across from our booth.
No, but I'm speculating that what his injury was last year is the same thing. I don't know that it is or not.
But what the big thing here, and I'm not a stickler for these things, as you know,
No, you're
is
not
that
at all.
when a player says to the referee, I'm taking an injury timeout, shouldn't you, as a referee, ask what the injury is? Shouldn't it be explained?
But you're not, like, too concerned about it.
We're just filling. I mean, look,
Yeah,
there's
no,
an empty
it's
court
filler,
here. The
yeah.
ball is rolling across the floor.
I'll tell you, while I'm watching Charlie here get his groin massage,
No, I'm
which is
asking a
awkward.
question. Shouldn't a referee ask the player, at least ask the player what the injury is? Because let's just put it this way. You and I are getting older.
Yeah.
We have the same referee. I'm pulling this stint
Yeah.
as many times as I possibly can.
Okay.
I'm going to the injury wagon.
But you only have 15 minutes regardless.
Yeah, well, that's
And if-
great. Injury, when you're old, 15 minutes is the greatest thing you've ever heard of.
Huh.
Not saying that Charlie's old or anything.
Well-
This is a legitimate injury.
Well,
You can
Charlie,
see that he's being.
He's in a lot of pain right now.
No,
I mean,
I get it. I get that. But I'm saying, shouldn't the referee at least ask? Now, if the referee's just assuming that you've got an injury because they've heard a story or you've talked to them and you said that you had, then it's a pre-existing injury, so it doesn't work. But go ahead. I'm done venting now.
well, I don't want to accuse Charlie of anything because I don't know if this is the same injury he had last year, if he came into this event with this injury. What if the injury was completely healed and then he's re-injured? Is
Hey,
that
it's obviously
pre-existing?
if there's an injury here, so there's something going on. And I'm cool with that. I just wish that the referee would ask what it was.
Well, I don't trust continue here. I mean, he's in so much pain just having that area rubbed. I mean, I don't see how he can go from this position to back to playing. I mean, it just doesn't seem logical. I mean, he's got about 12 minutes left, but I don't know what 12 minutes is going to do for you, Dave, if you've got a groin pull or, you know, I'm not a doctor, but it's something in that inner thigh area. I would definitely call it the groin from what I'm seeing. Now, Dave, why is it that all the action seems to take place wherever our booth is? I mean, for some reason, we're so far from the court, yet everything always seems to filter to us. Everything that's not happening on the court.
You don't think that's on purpose? Or?
Well, I'm asking you, is it? Is it a coincidence that every
It's
stop?
not a coincidence.
So people want us to see them getting rubbed down and
Yes.
buying gloves.
Yes.
And okay. All right. But then they make it seem like, you know, they.
You ever watch
they
the
don't look at us.
Kardashians?
I have the last 4 DVRs, so most recent ones, no.
Spoil alert.
I do know that Lamar and Chloe are thinking about reconciling.
Uh-oh.
And that was a bet that we made last year, so you could be opening up your wallet there.
Well,
if
I
that does
carry
happen.
sand with me at all times.
You gave me 5-1 on that, which, I mean, I took. You know, Vegas, it was 3-1, so, I mean, why wouldn't I take better odds when I can get them? That's
what I always say. Well, we're going to take a quick break here. We'll be back in 2 minutes. Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball, game number 1. Shanks 5, Peixoto 19, injury timeout. We'll be back 2 minutes from right now here at racefreight.com.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
We are back here for the conclusion of game number 1. Charlie Shanks, after that injury timeout, jumps in really quickly, and that's going to be replayed here at 5-19. Peixoto, barring, just take that whole injury out of the whole equation here.
Yeah.
Peixoto is playing amazing handball.
Yeah.
And we're not talking it had anything to do with the injury, maybe up until the last point or so, but Peixoto is really playing good, inspired handball. Haven't seen him play this good since the Worlds of 2009 when he was rolling in the early rounds until he ran into a guy named Paul Brady.
Yeah, he beat Robbie McCarthy at that event handily in 2 games. I don't see Charlie Shanks finishing this match, Dave. I mean, from the pain that I saw him in on the booth.
Well, he's got more points
Yeah.
since the injury than he had 20 minutes prior.
Point.
Well, I don't know why Charlie hasn't been serving his low serve this entire game.
7, serving 19.
This injury is forcing Charlie to be more aggressive.
Nice call. $19, serving 7. Serving 19. Short. Check the ball, Charlie. Second serve.
Emmett just taking 3 huge cuts in a row there. 3 perfect shots. Waited for the absolute
19, serving 7.
perfect opportunity and put it away. Dave, I don't know what to make of Charlie Shanks right now because we saw him out here in agony with that groin injury, and now he's actually playing much better ball than he was at any point in the first game.
Well, you and I were talking. I was watching him while he was getting attended to, and I heard him say, "I feel much better now." So that was a terrible serve.
So, Dave, was it possible that was a cramp? Because it was, I mean, a cramp is not an injury timeout, but that's why the referee has to ask. But if it was being rubbed that way, was it a cramp? I haven't had a cramp before, so I don't know.
You know, the rules say that you can't. A cramp is not an injury.
Right.
But who in the world here, barring a referee from being a doctor or the players being a doctor, how would you know the difference between the two if you don't have a doctor there to evaluate?
Serve 7.
Oh, there's a nice shot. Right corner kill from Charlie Shanks, 2 inches high, and he closes it out. Good move from Charlie.
Seven serves 19. Nice call. Eight serves 19.
We're at 8-19 here.
Charlie trying to establish some momentum in game number 2. He dropped game number 1 to Emmett 21-10 at the Nationals.
Nine serves 19.
Dave, you talk about how mental this game is. It looked like Charlie Shanks was not going to score any points. Now all of a sudden, since that injury timeout, he's come in and scored 6 consecutive points.
Yeah, it's really unreal.
He took a regular timeout, then he took an injury timeout, and he used 5.5 minutes to get a total of 15.
You hear the referee giving a little explanation.
Got a little rub down out there, loosened up that muscle.
So is that a cramp?
It is.
Really?
I mean,
I don't know.
To me, having a muscle strain, it's one of those things that just needs to be taken out of the rule book.
Well, tennis has done that, and I know that you're making mention of how many.
I like to use tennis references when I. Yeah. No, I like to use them now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, tennis did eliminate that rule. It's archaic. Is there a difference between a muscle strain and a cramp? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's definitive evidence that says if you get a cramp, you're not in shape.
Well, Dave, I bring this up a lot, but we were playing at the Hall of Fame tournament. You and I were playing doubles, in fact. I felt a cramp happening in my leg, and I decided to play through it, saying, well, it's not an injury timeout, so I know.
Slide ball.
Then I actually ended up pulling. The muscle was pulled. I went to a doctor, and he said, what are you doing? I mean, this is like the worst thing you could have done to yourself. I said, well, the rule says cramp. Well, this is not a cramp. Well, how do I know? I don't have a doctor on site.
Yeah.
So, but I can understand where somebody, let's say you had an artificial hip and it's a pre-existing injury, and you go in there and want to call an injury timeout, and the referee says, well, you just had your hip replaced, that's why your hip is hurting. I mean, it's a little obvious.
It's close. I thought you wanted it.
I can understand why part of that's in the rule, but there's some other things that are
down, but
not too evident.
Well, this is the game where we expect our players to call double bounces
19,
and
serving 10.
Get out of each other's way, but then we don't give them the authority to say when they're injured.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, it's kind of strange. You expect a guy to call a double bounce on himself at 10-10 in the tiebreaker, but then a guy says he's injured and you have to cross-examine him about his injury.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. That was an amazing shot. 1 foot inside out. It was like a pretzel shot, left corner. You have to be so precise on that because your body's going one way and you have to hit that corner. Another way, if we had a replay, here it comes. Watch this, Dave. This is a pretty long rally, but at the very end, Emmett's momentum taking him right to left. And it's so hard because you know that you have to open your arm up to hit the corner perfectly. I felt Emmett left that ball up too far. Charlie could have won the rally there, leaves it up. Emmett goes inside out, and he really hits the hardest shot you can possibly hit in that position and gets a perfect left corner kill. Peixoto up 19-10 here in game number 1.
20, serving 10.
Make that 20-10 now for Emmett Peixoto. Oh my gosh. If that's the way you're going to close out the first one, what is going to happen in game 2? We'll see. Stick around. 21-10. Peixoto takes game number 1. We'll be back game number 2 in about 5 minutes or so here at racefor8.com.
I'd like to thank my parents that drove me all the games, all the long away games.
We have some really far away games.
Obviously, my parents were the most important people in the world.
My mom, dad, and my older sister, Marissa.
My mom and dad for getting us involved in sports when we were kids. With 7 kids, it was never easy to get us all involved, but you did an awesome job.
So the dinner table was always a fun place to be, and even if you lost on the court, you usually tried to win on the dinner table.
I'd like to thank my dad for getting me into handball and getting into sports.
I'd like to thank my father,
my dad,
first and foremost.
I'd like to thank my peer group,
my friends who I play with daily,
Ricky,
my best friend Maria,
my freshman basketball coach. By making that freshman basketball team and the coach having seen something in me, it put me in the path to where I am now. I'm playing sports my whole life and being more of a lifestyle.
What really got me started into sports was my grandma and my grandpa, because my grandma coached my soccer team.
My sisters,
my husband,
my wife,
my in-laws, my brother Alan for being a great player and a great model for how to be on the court.
Considering my age, which is 79, I'd like to thank handball, my younger children, and everybody that's younger than me for keeping me in this game, because I think I'm healthy and mentally alert because of it.
So thank you.
Thank you for getting me into handball.
Being my biggest benefactor for supporting me and coming out here.
Creating such an amazing atmosphere.
Keeping me fired up and loving the game.
Being an inspiration.
Without them, I don't think I'd play sports.
I know it wasn't simple.
Wasn't simple.
Wasn't simple. Wasn't simple.
But he sure was sport, baby.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards.
Oh, don't. Oh.
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay,
Yeah.
here it goes.
Oh, Mom!
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you. Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Get a remarkable clean with non-toxic and biodegradable Simple Green All-Purpose Cleaner. Use straight from the bottle on heavy grime or dilute the concentrated formula to make up to 44 bottles of daily cleaner. Safe for all washable surfaces, Simple Green can be used indoors and out. From kitchens and bathrooms to living and play areas, countertops and floors to furniture and clothing. Keep your home and our world clean with Simple Green.
Rethink what you know about this Vegas icon. Elevate your expectations at the Stratosphere Hotel, Casino, and Tower. See what's new, up, down, and all around.
Get ready for your next barbecue with the Southland's most delicious smoked sausages. I'm Rachel Serrato from Far West Meats. My family has provided quality, delicious meats locally for over 90 years. At Far West Meats, we take pride in serving a mouth-watering variety of smoked sausages, including beef, chicken, and Louisiana hot or mild, and our new products like Red Hots and chicken chorizo. Please find Far West Meats products at your local supermarkets, including Albertsons, Smart & Final, Stater Brothers, Superior, Gardinas, Walmart, Food for Less, and Winco.
Far West Meats is proud to be participating in the Simple Greens U.S. Open of Handball, as we have been a part of the Southern California handball community for over 40 years.
Back in Fountain Valley, California for the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball, race for 8, stop number 1, and the men's elite. Charlie Shanks, Emmett Peixoto, round of 8 action. Earlier today, it was a mild upset. Nadi Alvarado Jr. taking down Mondo Ortiz in an earlier match. It was Luis Moreno over Dermot Nash, and so that means that Moreno will face Nadi Alvarado, and then we'll see Paul Brady, who defeated Luis Cordova in 2 quick ones. He'll face the winner of this one, and looks like it's going to be Peixoto the way that he played the first game. Charlie Shanks had an injury timeout, but then came back and played better after the injury. Maybe that's the thing. I've been on the sidelines for a while because of an injury. I think I should just play through it.
Ready? Okay, time in.
Peixoto gets that first serve here in game number 2, 0-0. That was a terribly hit serve, and Charlie Shanks dips the return in, so Peixoto gets a favor.
1 serving 0.
Emmett Peixoto, sponsored by the Olympic Club San Francisco, will have a race stop there right during Valentine's Day. If you want a family getaway, you might want to go to San Francisco during Valentine's Day. That's absolutely perfect setting for that too. Romantic city.
Two serving 0. Three serving 0.
Score here is 3-0 in favor of Peixoto. Want to say hello to Sorsha.
0 serving 3.
Who is watching this live broadcast. Last name Smith. She's a big fan of the game of handball, which is really cool. That's the daughter of Brian Smith, who plays. But it's nice to hear that these young kids are watching the live broadcast, Dave, and also digging what they're seeing. Big fan of Charlie Shanks and Emmett Peixoto.
3 serving 0.
Which is cool.
Serving 0.
Emmett starting his second game much the way he did the first, totally in control.
Zero serving 4. Short. Second serve.
Emmett said in an interview, Dave, from Idaho, that he thinks that the Irish do well against him because he plays the Irish style, so they're used to it. He said he plays very consistent,
serving 4.
which is how they play there. That's how they're taught.
Bad bounce.
That's true. He did say that.
He's going to replay it. He held up even before the ball double bounced.
And hopefully we'll get that interview on a little bit later.
I did not. I saw him put his hand up and hold up. I did not. He put his hand up like we talked about before. He put his hand up as it was bouncing. I cannot see that from here.
Let's look at the replay and see what these guys are talking about.
It doesn't matter. I stopped the play. I saw him hold up. He put his arm up and said bad bounce. You could try to do that, but it's not going to work.
And Dave, this is why we eliminated that rule, because this happens.
It's a replay. For what? What do you want me to ask you? If they saw a bad bounce?
But if, regardless of what the line judges say, the play was stopped by the referee. So even if they can't award him with a free point.
Did you see a bad bounce? You couldn't see it? One saw the bad bounce, one couldn't see it. It's a replay.
Exactly what would have happened regardless here is being replayed.
No,
referee can say that he saw a bad bounce. That's completely legal, Dave, right?
Yeah, he can. And apparently the player put his hand up as he was
And the
instructed.
referee also saw it as well, and so did a line judge. But Charlie says, I can just do that on every play? Well, yeah, that's the way the game was invented. About 150 years ago, we decided that rule, right?
Are there any other sports that use that rule, Dave?
No.
No. So
that's why we don't use that rule on the Race for 8 Tour.
Yeah.
But that's not my point. Is the referee said
there's a lot of
the
other
referee
sports.
explained to both players that if you have a bad bounce, you raise your hand. That's exactly what the player did. Charlie's now arguing it, and the referee saying, "Why didn't you argue this when we talked about this on the floor before the match started?"
Hold it.
Well, Charlie's frustrated right now, Dave. He didn't look good in game number 1. He's trailing here early in game 2, so maybe he can use some of this anger, put it towards his game.
Watch out, Charlie's tough from there.
He tends to kill the ball better with his left off the bounce.
Emmett goes with that inside out down the left. That's pretty tough to do.
I think you mishit that, Dave.
Well,
Looked like he was going cross-court kill there.
4 serves 2.
Well, it was a great miss hit if that's the case. That's a miss hit.
Emmett looked up to see if he could get a bad bounce. It didn't look like it hit the window, though.
It's hard to raise your hand when you're actually swinging for the ball.
2 serves 4.
Dave, whatever Charlie was suffering from late in that first game with the muscle strain, it seems to have dissipated. I mean, he looks like the Charlie Shanks of old now. And
3 serves 4.
I stated, Dave, I didn't think the match was going to continue. I thought it was over there when he was on this table out here being worked on, but he's now had the magic hands of an Irish friend of his, and he's back in business.
4 serves 4.
Well, the Irish do have magic hands. Boy, Emmett's having to really extend himself on those crack serves from Shanks.
That's the first time in this match that Emmett's looked off balance trying to return those
nice
crack
shot.
serves.
Nice little underhand flip up there. You said that Charlie had the best serve you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Is it just a serve that he does, or is it everything he brings to the table when he's serving?
Well, I think it's the best serve ever. It's hard to read. It's hard to see. It's almost like a pitcher that hides the ball because he turns his back and he contorts himself in such a way that you can't see the ball until it actually hits the front wall, and by then it's so low and hard. It's like, how can I even react to this? It's already past me. There's been, I'd say, 10 times receiving Charlie's serve. I actually thought his serve hit the floor first and caught it. Not that I had any chance to return anyway, but the ball actually had hit the front wall about 3 inches high, and people are looking at me like, no, that hit the front wall first. So to me, it's just a dominating serve.
But it's he mixing it up, going to the left and the right, and I think with his big body, it makes it even more tough because, you are obstructed just a little bit more when the ball does hit the front wall. You can't tell if it's to the left or right sometimes.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's almost like Lincecum, how he hides that ball, and it's such an awkward delivery, and then all of a sudden it's on top of you because he's throwing 95.
Right.
And that's what Charlie's doing. I mean, he's got this crazy, delivery. I've never seen anyone serve like that, either from Ireland or the United States. It's something that he developed on his own. He's so tall. He's one of the tallest guys out here, and he crouches down into like a shell, and you'll see it here. And then all of a sudden, this serve is fired out of a magnum.
Serving 4.
Well, he has sort of this weird Irish whip thing right there. That it's just so deceptive. And there's a miss hit from Peixoto. Shanks now at 7.
The first time I've seen Emmett rush a shot there. Just didn't let that ball come to him. Reach for it.
Serving 4.
And all of a sudden, Dave, we have a match on our hands.
Yeah, Peixoto calls a timeout and then loses 2 straight points.
Yeah.
8 serving 4.
And Charlie now looks like the old Charlie. So maybe that injury was a good thing.
Yeah.
Nice get from Shanks. Emmett throws it around. Shanks is really dangerous with his left right there, Dave.
Hold it.
Oh, I don't know. That was such a great shot from Charlie. Inside out, right corner. Emmett going to cover the right side. Ball stays up front. Referee calls.
No, I think Emmett had a good play on that, and Charlie knew it. He didn't argue it.
Well, Charlie had his back turned. Emmett was going to the right, and that ball stayed up front, went to the left. But there was contact. There was Emmett came in and hit Charlie, and that sort of neutralized everything.
Nine serving 4.
Now Shanks from 2 years back is in the court here at 9-4.
Second serve.
During the next timeout, we're going to make a little change here in the director's log that we've created. That we're going to talk about number 9 on that interview series with Emmett Peixoto when he talks about why the Irish are so good. Was going to discuss Emmett's offhand, but
4 serving 9.
Your and my discussion have been more about the Irish and how these two match up against each other, and I'd like to hear what Emmett has to say about that.
Yeah, it's an interesting answer. And you know, Dave, Emmett really struggled against the Irish. He'd lost 7 consecutive matches against the Irish up until beating Shanks at the Nationals. Lost to Nash twice, Paul Brady 3 times, Charlie Shanks,
Robbie McCarthy.
It was actually more than 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he
lost to
defeated
Martin Mulkerns.
But he did defeat here at the tournament. He defeated Stephen Cooney, I believe.
Right.
So Stephen got him off the schneid.
Well, Charlie got him off the schneid.
Yeah, right,
and now he's got 2 in a row. But also losing to Martin Mulkerns, and just had a real tough time against the Irish.
Well, if Charlie Shanks if Emmett scores one more point here, Charlie's going to call a timeout. And then we'll be able to hear what Emmett says about the Irish in an exclusive interview, never seen before on TV.
Second serve.
Boy, Charlie just pokes that ball up there. Pretty good spot. And there's another point. And this is where the timeout should happen.
Timeout.
And it is. And let's go to that interview that we had with Emmett Peixoto a couple weeks back in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, where we said, why are the Irish so good? Here's what Emmett had to say.
Irish guys don't make many errors. The American guys make more errors because they go for low percentage shots. The Irish guys don't, so my game is very high percentage. So when I'm playing an Irish guy, we're just battling, going for really good shots, and the rallies last a long time. So if I'm not putting the ball away, they could win. So it all depends on if I'm putting the ball away. That'll change the whole scope. But that's why they have trouble with people like Sean and Luis, because they take such random shots, that they're not used to. They're used to my game, really high percentage, what is it, percentage handball, the video with Vern Roberts and all.
That's an interesting take there from Emmett Peixoto. Dave, I agree with that. They're used to his game because they play that back home, they said. I don't know if he's given himself a reverse compliment, but hey, he is ranked number 2.
Well, he is, yes, but
he is number 2 on the tour.
I think Emmett now is playing a lot better than he was during that losing streak against the Irish that started in 2012.
Lost some of our court sounds, but he's now serving here at 8-9. But I believe, his own analysis of what he's saying is a smart analysis nonetheless. Boy, Emmett almost got that ball around the revolving door, flipped it up, didn't make it to the front wall, but came close.
Yeah, that was one of the hardest shots we've seen Charlie hit in this match. Great shot down the right.
9, serving 8. Short.
Charlie lived in New York City, Dave, for 2 years during the first 2 seasons of the race event.
Second serve.
Was playing out of the New York Athletic Club, and those guys just loved him there, Dave. They said he would get there after work around 4 or 5, hit about 200 serves by himself in the court, play a match, and then go down to the gym and do
10,
sprints.
serving 8.
Yeah. Well, he's a likable guy.
$11, serving 8.
Now, Dave, as a great server yourself, why would Charlie completely abandon his low power serve in the first game? I mean, he didn't even hit it. And now you see the success he's having by using that power serve. I mean, he's dominating the rallies every time he hits the serve the way he wants to hit it.
You know, sometimes you go into the court and you start practicing. You say, this is what I do, and I'm going to go in here, and you start practicing the serve, and it's just not the same until you get into game time. But when you're practicing, you can say, I haven't located it. I don't feel confident with this. I'm not going to try it. I'm going to go to this approach instead, try to slow the game down, do some 2-wall wraps, and just engage into a rally.
Serving 8.
And then I'm going to step into it. I think once Charlie went down into the game mode, he was able to execute and say, wait a second, this wasn't happening when I was in here by myself. It's just the way this game is. It's very odd. We're also going to take a break here in the booth. We'll be back in 2 minutes. It's a 2-minute glove change at the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball here at racefor8.com.
Working and working out takes a lot of energy. That's why I drink Zenergy. Feeling fantastic and looking good has never been easier. Science, extreme science for your active lifestyle.
My life is full of statistics. Thing is, I could have dropped out of school and become one myself, but I didn't because I had people that believed in me. Here's another statistic. 7,000 students drop out every school day. That's 1 every 26 seconds. It's time that students know that we believe in them.
Inspire a student and share your message of support at boostup.org.
Okay, score is 13, serving 8.
13-8, we're back here, game number 2. 21-10, first game.
Hold it.
Emmett defeats Charlie Shanks, or as Paul Brady says, 21-9.
Serving 8.
Charlie has to be frustrated there, Dave. A huge backball setup, and he doesn't put it away. And then the worst possible scenario, Emmett hits him with a ball that would have been a huge setup.
I didn't see it. He's saying it hit a bad bounce on the ceiling. You saw a bad bounce? You see a bad bounce? No. One agrees, one disagrees. He saw a bad bounce, he did not, so it stays. Nope.
Charlie's now
Side out.
very frustrated, even though he has the
For
lead.
his
Dave, you
eighth
said he was
serving
frustrated
13.
in game number 1 when he was chirping with the lines judges and referees, but how can he be frustrated at 13? Now you see Charlie saying that ball went straight down, and I can prove it because, as John Bike says, quote, ball don't lie.
Oof.
And that was what Charlie just said to the line judge.
That was a dagger for me.
And you heard 3 laughs out of the 250 people in the gallery. Those 3 people don't have a clue what they're laughing about.
Okay.
Second serve.
Kind of like when you tell jokes.
Well, mainly when I tell. I've never told one that got a real laugh.
Doesn't mean you don't count them.
I still count them. I mean,
You look at the fake laugh as a sign of respect or sympathy, or doesn't it matter?
well, it doesn't. Not when you're desperate.
Okay.
This is a huge setup for Charlie. I love that corner. Oh, and it's
Oh
a
my
replay
God.
from the referee, which is a terrible call, and Dave Fink has left the booth.
It was well up. And the whole time he was behind you with his hands out, could not see the ball. So
Letting the referee talk to the player here. Charlie
that has
Shanks,
nothing
left
to do with
hand.
it. All that matters is if it was gettable. It doesn't matter where it was sitting. All that
Huge
matters is
setup
it
for
was up.
Charlie Shanks. Here it is, right corner. Peixoto says he can't see it. Referee gave it to him. Charlie Shanks is now out of the court here.
He can. As long as you don't kill it, he can stand wherever. No. No. No, that was up a foot high, and the whole time he could not see it. He can stand.
Here's that replay one more time.
I
Charlie.
don't know if I can bear to watch it again.
Well, I know you had to take a lap around the stadium here. Here's where Emmett overhits the ball down the middle of the court. Emmett's standing in one spot. Charlie said it's Emmett's fault for being behind him.
Right, which is true.
Emmett was in that spot before Charlie even got the ball. And then Charlie did not put it down. He actually left that ball up. I tend to agree now with the referee after seeing it in replay.
Even after my lap around this whole complex.
Yeah, you might have to take another lap because of me agreeing.
Replay, 13, serving 8.
Just because Charlie had a big setup doesn't mean that you just get a freebie there. You have to actually execute. Charlie now saying ball don't lie again.
He did not say that.
No, but he might. Look up at the referee here.
He gave a fist pump there.
14, serving 8.
Great shot from Emmett.
And now Emmett fist pumps back.
And Emmett's cheering section, Dave, who drove down here with him from
serving 14.
Northern California, knows that he needs them right now. So they're going to be a little bit more vocal.
Not too many times do you see a swing and miss off the back wall.
No, that was strange. And that was, he missed that by a foot.
And Charlie was afraid of that side wall and the ball meeting at the same time. Punch to the roof here. Emmett, big setup, back wall, goes down the left. Charlie back to the roof. Emmett now using his left, which I think is more dangerous.
Hold it.
I know Charlie doesn't understand these calls and is going to argue with the referee, but because Emmett was standing in that spot.
He's not arguing about that call.
What's the difference between that one and the previous one?
Well,
9,
that was a
serving
huge
14.
difference. And Charlie Dave just seems to be able to make these paddle soft kills on the return of serve.
That was really unbelievable.
I mean, that's the third time he's done that in this game.
14, serving 9. Short.
Referee is the Great
Second
Dane
serve.
Zatkowski.
Strange air there from Charlie.
9, serving 14. Short. Second serve.
Oh, and he does it again, Dave. Charlie did the exact same underhand paddle left corner. You said you don't know how he does it. He did it again. If anybody back there at home or wherever you're at says, well, that's just a luck
14,
shot.
serving 9.
Well, Emmett initially thought it was a luck shot, and I think he keeps giving him opportunities to prove that it's not lucky.
Now at 15-9.
Emmett
Well,
Peixoto,
Charlie did a better one just now. I know you had to look away because you're signing autographs, but you know, some of the top players can sign an autograph and still watch the match.
But can they look at stats, sign an autograph, and still watch the match?
That's negatory.
Yeah, I thought so. Emmett Peixoto 10-7 last season, Dave. Overall, that earned him a number 2 ranking,
serving
though.
15. Out of it.
That ball went out
Hey, he
into the
was watching.
ballpark.
Replay.
Don't like those replays. After this stop, that will not be allowed this year.
Wow.
15.
You hit a ball out in the gallery, it's a side out or a point.
So it's the opposite of baseball then?
It's the opposite of everything.
Oh.
Hold it.
Now, we don't have the control here at this event to start altering rules like that, but I'm guaranteeing you right now, any other stop this happens for the rest of the year, you hit a ball in the gallery, it's automatic side out or point called against you, or depends on if you're serving or not. It's ridiculous.
And Emmett just sticks his wing out there and gets enough of it to hit it 2 inches high.
10 serves 15.
In other words, you just hit the biggest setup of all time and you got awarded by getting a reserve. And then Charlie,
he's still there.
I'm off of it now. Just watches Emmett hit a flat rollout right in front of him.
11 serves 15.
Now Emmett's starting to make a run here, going for a crack. Oh, I like it. Charlie's unable to get it. Now at 12-15, Charlie might call a timeout if Emmett scores again.
Yeah.
Timeout.
And he calls it now.
Yeah, I think that was the right time if you're Charlie Shanks there.
You're watching the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball. Race for 8, stop number 1. The men's elite and the women's elite here. Then it goes to the senior stop in Tucson, Arizona in a couple weeks, plus the elite men, and you can qualify to play in both. No qualifier for the seniors. That's above 40. If you celebrate your 40th birthday in this calendar year, I should say in the 2015 year, you can play on the senior tour in 2015. If you turn 40 here in 2014, you could also play as well, even if it's in December or after the tournament in November. The elite men will have a qualifier. Up to 32 qualifiers can play in the tournament. That's the cap. The first couple years, Dave, you and I had it at 16. We would have 16 at one stop. We'd have 14 at the next, 15 at the next stop. It was always pretty close. And then all of a sudden, late last year, it started booming. When it went to Houston, we could have had 48 qualifiers if we wanted to. This year, we've decided to open it up, allowing 32 now, and we're going to see what happens. Tucson will probably have a light load because airline flights are so expensive, probably about 16 or so. Might resort back to the way we did it the first year for that stop, but it's certainly, as this thing heats up, you're going to see more qualifiers show up.
Oh, great shots from Emmett. Forced Charlie to go to the ground there on that 35-foot left corner kill.
13 serving 15.
And then has an easy put away for his 13th point.
Short. I called it short. Couldn't see it. One agrees. It's a short ball. Short ball.
Emmett's wife Jessica watching courtside here.
Second serve.
We have an interview with Emmett talking about his wife, so if we can get that queued up, number 8.
14 serving 15.
Emmett's now making this nice little comeback here.
Hold it.
Who Charlie banks himself into Emmett, and then there's a.
Got it. Yeah.
I agree with Emmett here. I hate to see that as a player when your opponent goes the wrong way and then they come back and run into
15.
you because of their bad placement, and then they get the hinder call. Uh-oh,
my.
uh-oh, that is fancy, and it doesn't make the front wall. Emmett goes behind the back, punch fist. He had to time it perfectly, and he just hit it off the side of his hand. Shanks back in.
15, serving 14. Hold it.
Charlie inches from an ace serve there.
It was not an avoidable.
Both players getting a little testy here now, Dave. Jawing quite a bit with our referee.
I don't know how that could be an avoidable.
No, I don't think it was either. I think Emmett's frustrated by the previous call.
Previous one is it is one of those that is always on the borderline. We see some referees give, not give. We've seen it both ways, but
Well,
there is no rule on that.
No.
It's just sort of the referee's sort of perceptive.
It's a judgment call, but we tend to see a lot more hinders called at the U.S. Open. We don't have official stats on that, but it's more of an old style refereeing at the U.S. Open, whereas when you see guys on the Raise for a Tour reffing, they kind of let the guys play through almost everything, even sometimes with contact.
15, serves 14.
That's a good point. 15 to 14.
Ooh.
I thought it was a screen.
Yeah.
I gave you the shot.
Oh.
Thought you wanted the setup.
That was not. Where's the setup at? An underhand fist shot?
That's a point. Last
on
time
one
when
bounce?
I called it a hinder, you said you wanted it. All right. It's a point. I gave you the shot this time.
Interesting. I don't understand how a referee doesn't understand that when a player is screened on a serve,
16,
they
serving
want
14.
it. They want to take the ball off the back wall.
Well, the referee made it sound like that was a setup, but it was a 80-mile-per-hour hop serve. My idea of a setup.
I don't talk bad about referees anymore.
No, you
so.
don't.
Turn to leaf. Unfortunately, that leaf has been turned over so many times, it's back to the original spot.
Yeah.
And
you're so thin now that it's pretty easy for that to just blow around.
Yeah, so
17, serving 14.
I don't even call them by their first names anymore. I just call them ref.
Ah, Charlie gets that ball back up to the ceiling, gets himself in this rally. Oh, but Emmett runs back, gets behind the shot, and hits a kill.
Emmett gets that kill shot, gets back into the box, 14 to 15.
14, serving 17.
Oh, 17, sorry.
Great shot. Dave, we saw Emmett look pretty much invincible in the first 90% of that first game. What's changed? Is it Charlie's level going up, Emmett's dropping?
Emmett did not keep the same pace he had in that first game. You can see he was making some amazing shots.
Yeah.
But Charlie did step his level up. And sometimes when you know that your opponent is hurt, you kind of lose your interest as well. It's like, I'm going to be out here fighting against a guy that's injured. But it works against your psyche. And there's the side out.
Very difficult to pass Emmett, but Charlie does it there with a 2-foot-high reverse. Hits the floor, straightens out. Emmett got his hand on it, but couldn't throw it back to the wall.
17, serving 15.
Just over the line.
Great
and
shot there.
There should be a
from
timeout
Charlie.
from Emmett coming up here if Charlie keeps doing this.
And it's what we talked about in the last match. Whoever
18,
controls the center
15.
court is going to win these matches. And this serve enables Charlie to control the center of the court.
It's a point.
And you see Charlie hits his last two shots, Dave, from exactly where he served. Setups right at his waist, knee level.
It's a down ball.
Easy money there for
19, serving 15.
Charlie Shanks.
Charlie's just scoring points now, and he's looking good doing it.
Once again, Dave, Charlie hits his first shot from that service line. He wins the rally. Emmett frustrated.
Charlie's going to push this one into a tiebreaker.
Timeout.
And there's a timeout call from Emmett Peixoto. Number 2 for him at the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball. WPH Race for 8 Professional Handball Tour.
You know, Dave, when you've got a rivalry match, and I know you watch a lot of college football, but anything can happen. I mean, you know, you've got a guy like Emmett come out and just sprint out of the gates to a 19-4 lead, and you're thinking, wow, this match is over. You know, let's start thinking about Emmett versus Paul Brady tomorrow. But Charlie Shanks knows what to expect from Emmett. They've played so many times that he's not going to be intimidated by a 19-4 start. He's going to know that, you know, I beat Emmett a number of times. He's beat me. I'm going to work my way back into this match, and that's what he's done. He came back from the dead. I mean, he was lying on that table 10 feet from us in agony, trailing 19-4, comes back and scores 6 of the last 8 points in that first game, and then here taking a 20-15 lead on the verge of a tiebreaker.
Well, he's a working man's handball player too, and he's a very smart dude. So when he's at home thinking, do I play in the U.S. Open or not, he thinks of the worst case scenario. I have to play Emmett Peixoto, and then the next round Emmett Peixoto, and the next round Emmett Peixoto. So he says, I have to get into that shape in order to play in this tournament. So Emmett's a gauge for most of these guys. Can I face him? Can I defeat him?
5 minutes.
And Charlie just did here in game number 2, and it's a 5-minute break to go into that tiebreaker. Dave, I know you think about these things too as a pro player. You say, am I fit enough to play against the top players? And one of the guys that comes to your mind immediately is, could I play and defeat Emmett Peixoto? Right? I mean, that's really where you have to put yourself. Some of the top players decide, like a Tony Healy who's coming back and trying to get back into the game. Do you think, can I go in there? And if you say no to yourself, you just don't enter the tournament.
Yeah. Well, unless you work at the tournament, then you figure, well, I'm here anyway.
I'm here, so I might as well get a workout. Thank you for neutralizing that argument.
Well, that was a extenuating circumstance, they say.
There's going to be a 5-minute break. Do want to talk a little bit more about Emmett before we go into that break, as we talk to him about the importance of the support that he gets from his new wife, Jessica. And this is what Emmett had to say a couple weeks ago.
I've never really had anybody, other than maybe my parents, that's been so supportive of my handball game. She pushes me to train. She, like when I'm feeling like, oh, you know, I don't need to do this, and she reminds me, you're playing for a tournament. You're getting ready for a tournament. You need to get up. You need to do this. And you're right, you're right. And she just wants me to do well because she knows how much I love it and how much I hate losing. And she reminds me, you know, if I don't do these certain things, I might lose. And then, but if I do them, I could win. And she always reminds me of that. She goes to the grocery store and gets me protein shakes and, you know, all these nausea medicines because I have trouble with my stomach and all sorts of stuff for training. She comes with me to all the events. I mean, Jessica's she's been fantastic. I couldn't ask for more.
Let's see if Jessica can help out her husband. Right there she is. She's not telling him what to do on the court, not saying you need to hit the ball down the right wall when he's standing to the left, or, you know, she's saying positive things. You've trained for this. This is your time. You're putting in the effort. She's telling him, and he's agreeing. Emmett Peixoto sitting courtside with his wife, Jessica, and they're going to go into a timeout here for a couple more minutes, and then we'll be back onto the court for game number 3. We're going to take a break. We'll be back. More action. Charlie Shanks, Emmett Peixoto in the quarterfinals here at the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball. We'll be back here at racefor8.com in just a bit. Stick with us.
I'd like to thank my parents that drove me all the games, all the long away games.
We have some really far away games.
Obviously, my parents were the most important people in the world.
My mom, dad, and my older sister, Marissa.
My mom and dad for getting us involved in sports when we were kids. With 7 kids, it was never easy to get us all involved, but you did an awesome job.
The dinner table was always a fun place to be, and even if you lost on the court, you usually tried to win on the dinner table.
I'd like to thank my dad for getting me into handball and getting into sports.
I'd like to thank my father,
my dad first and foremost.
I'd like to thank my peer group.
My friends who I play with daily.
Ricky.
My best friend, Maria.
My freshman basketball coach. By making that freshman basketball team and the coach having seen something in me, it put me in the path to where I am now. I'm playing sports my whole life and being more of a lifestyle.
What really got me started into sports was my grandma and my grandpa, because my grandma coached my soccer team.
My sisters.
My husband.
My wife.
My in-laws. My brother Alan for being a great player and a great model for how to be on the court.
Considering my age, which is 79, I'd like to thank handball, my younger children, and everybody that's younger than me for keeping me in this game because I think I'm healthy and mentally alert because of it.
So thank you.
Thank you for getting me into handball. Being my biggest benefactor for supporting me and coming out here.
Creating such an amazing atmosphere.
Keeping me fired up and loving the game.
Being an inspiration.
Without them, I don't think I would play sports.
I know it wasn't simple.
It wasn't simple.
Wasn't simple. Wasn't simple.
You should watch sport, baby.
Are you getting this, honey?
Oh, prime time. We are rolling.
All right, Mama's gonna bring it home. Mama's gonna bring it home. Okay.
Come on, watch this guy.
Oh, backwards.
Oh, don't. Oh.
It went into Bob and Carol's yard. Oh, no? Okay, here it comes.
Oh, no!
Challenge your kids to be active and eat healthy.
All right, let's see what you can do. Let's go.
They might surprise you. Search We Can for more ideas on how you and your kids can get healthy together.
Get a remarkable clean with non-toxic and biodegradable Simple Green All-Purpose Cleaner. Use straight from the bottle on heavy grime or dilute the concentrated formula to make up to 44 bottles of daily cleaner. Safe for all washable surfaces, Simple Green can be used indoors and out. From kitchens and bathrooms to living and play areas, countertops and floors to furniture and clothing. Keep your home and our world clean with Simple Green.
Nope, I wasn't ready. Game to 11.
We
Zero,
are back.
serve 0.
Fountain Valley, California, 0-0. Game to 11, tiebreaker. The winner will go up against Paul Brady tomorrow in the bottom bracket of the semifinals of this race stop number 1. Emmett Peixoto, Charlie Shanks. Charlie gets that first point. Charlie Shanks took down Sean Linning last night in a crazy round of 16 matchup. 0-0.
Point. Peeling the serve, I called it good.
I thought
One
it was.
agrees, both agree.
Players could go to the booth if they
Score is
wanted
1,
for an
serving
instant
0.
replay, but they would lose the appeal for the rest of that
Replay.
game if it didn't go in their favor.
One serving 0.
Here we are at 1-0.
I was just hanging out in the overflow room, Dave.
How do you like it over there?
Oh, it's really cool. Oh, no. Oh, no. No.
Well, yes, he did call it. It was a bad call, and Charlie's now going to serve again.
Nope.
That was a horrible call, but probably a makeup for what happened in a couple of the earlier bad calls from this referee. That was a bad call, and I have sworn never to say that.
Well, now that you've broken
phrase.
it, can't you just get back to who you were?
No.
The guy that flies around the country just criticizing refs?
No, I was never that guy.
No, you aren't.
No.
Roll out. Point.
That was a nice shot.
Emmett's asking for a hinder there.
Well, the referee's been giving them.
That's true. Ask and you shall receive in this match.
0.
Never hear the word no unless you ask. Something that I've learned a long time ago.
Well, your dad taught you that, right?
Yeah.
What's the story behind that?
He had 3 yeses out of 100. He told me those were the best 3 wives he's ever had. Sounds like that was a joke, but it's really not. That was actually a factual father-son conversation that I once had.
The only things that are funny are true. So.
2 serving 0.
He's the same great father that I had that after making a flat rollout during a handball match in a state championship final, I turned around and looked at him, and he purposely looked away so I wouldn't see that he saw it.
So it's all about you then?
Well.
Hold it.
Oh.
Because you fell into him, knocked him that way, and the ball was up. It doesn't matter. The ball was.
Dave, when the ref is talking more than the announcers, that's a problem.
Right there.
Well, I have an oath.
The oath was broken at that point. No.
Nope. Referee's doing a fine job.
He's killing it.
Yes, he is. Hashtag he's killing it.
Trending. It's a good view.
It's a wonderful view, and enjoy looking at the referee's forehead. But the sound was great.
Dave, this is becoming serious here. E Peixoto came into this event, some people's short list.
No, yours.
Okay. True. That's some people's, though, person.
Okay.
And, you know, came out in the beginning of this match just making me look good. You know, he...
Making some people's look good.
Some person look good. And now all of a sudden, it's all changed.
No, that's Charlie's a working man's handball player. He just has a way. He knows what he wants to do, and his system sometimes has an ebb and flow, and right now it's flowing for him. And Emmett is ebbing.
You know, I've played Charlie Shanks, Dave, a number of times, and there are times when he'll go through even an entire game just not playing well, and then all of a sudden, he just totally turns it around and takes the game out of your hands.
Charlie makes a miss hit right there. Actually, Emmett mishit his ball. Charlie did worse on his.
0, serving 3.
See if Emmett can capitalize here.
Short. Appeal, I called it short.
It was.
Both agree. Second serve.
Oh, nice shot from Charlie around the revolving door. Hits it down the right, gets it.
I believe, Dave, that Charlie Shanks not only has the best serve in the game, but also the best revolving door kill. I've never seen anything like it. He executes it under pressure. He makes it almost every time, and that's a difficult revolving door because that ball hit the side wall 6 inches high.
3, serving 0.
Just barely came off the back wall, and Charlie Shanks.
Well, for you tall dudes that play handball, or dudettes that are tall, you'd think that the revolving door can't work for a tall person. It's just too much feet and legs involved. Charlie has found a system, get it on video, and try to figure out what he does with his feet, because he hits that ball about 3 inches high, wide into the right side wall, and it stays down. I don't know what he does, but it's just absolutely perfect. But he does it great with his left hand, too. Does that make Charlie bipolar? I don't know the correct phrase.
I've never seen Charlie use the left hand on a revolving door kill, so I don't. You could be right. And you see Paul Brady now, Dave. He senses, hey, this is a match.
4, serving 0.
I'm going to check out what I'm up against tomorrow.
No, Paul's just correcting people on Facebook.
Okay.
Thought there was a bad bounce off that hole. This is what Emmett wants here. He wants to engage with Charlie, but Charlie doesn't look like he's getting tired. He's just getting stronger, and there's another point for Charlie.
Well, Dave, Charlie Shanks was #1 when he stopped playing on the tour at the end of the Raise for A2 season. That's an amazing accomplishment. Last year he didn't play any event, so he's not ranked anymore, but the last event he played made the finals of the Players' Championship and ended the season at #1. So, you know, this is a guy that is just an outstanding player.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have to learn how to ride the bike again.
5, serving 0.
I do.
Well, you've got so many other interests, you know, like looking at yourself in the mirror, criticizing people, growing this
Someone
wonderful
has
game.
to do it.
Well, that's true.
Well.
Right down that left wall.
Oh, and Charlie Shanks looks winded there. His legs gave out on him there, Dave, on the 23rd shot of that rally. I thought he might have been grabbing at that groin area there, but I think just fatigue from 23 shots during that rally. He just totally whiffed a shot there right down the middle of the court, and it wasn't because of the hop. But, Dave, if you're an E Peixoto fan, I know there's a lot of them here, he's resorted back to about a year or 2 years ago. He's just keeping the ball in play. He's not shooting the ball. He's hoping to just wear Charlie out, but he's got to realize Charlie is only 6 points from winning this match.
Yeah, well, remember now, Luis Moreno at the Nationals was up 9-0, and Emmett came back and beat him, so he knows how to tap into that elitism on the court. Charlie goes and wipes the court for an hour and then gets another hour off. That's a smart veteran move.
Yeah.
I think we all need to capitalize on some of that mentality every now and then. We call it gamesmanship. I do certainly want to talk to the players about gamesmanship and see what they have to say.
Be interesting.
Make a little collage video. You know, everybody's going to have a different answer, so it'll be kind of cool to see what everybody says about that.
I think you'll see most of them playing it pretty close to the vest on that question.
Okay, they don't want to be.
Yeah.
You're watching the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball. 0-5 to start off for Emmett Peixoto, who's serving here after looking like he was just going to walk right through Charlie Shanks after 3/4 of that first game was going on.
15 seconds.
But the tide has changed just a little bit. I would say a lot now. Charlie Shanks looked good at the end of game number 1.
Yeah.
Looked good, obviously, in game number 2 when he shellacked Emmett there. 21-15. Emmett did have a late game surge there in game number 2, but here in game 3, it's all Charlie Shanks.
Well, I believe it's the serve that's turned everything around. Emmett's serve has not been effective since game 1. Charlie completely took over game 2 with his serve, as he's done here in the tiebreaker. He's just earning a lot of setups, and Emmett's not getting those setups on his serve. It seems like he's trying to hit a soft hop as opposed to the harder power serve he was hitting in the first game. And Charlie's going to extend this break now into 2 minutes and 45 seconds from the time that he started wiping the floor.
Which is hard to do, actually.
Okay, his score is 0, serving 5.
And Emmett now on the board.
One, serving 5.
Emmett's whole family here. Only missing his half-brother Seth from having a family reunion. Boy, they're grounding and pounding here. Up to the roof is Charlie, and he misses it.
Yeah.
And no crazy call from the referee, so that's like a legitimate point. Harkin.
Two, serving 5.
Peixoto now at 2. See if he gets aggressive here. Those are crazy. Those balls that hit that little lip up there on the top of that back wall.
Would that be a point in your rule book? That would be a replay?
5.
Still in the court.
So you would play that then?
You know, the manufacturers of these handball courts, they have no clue how the game is played. If they did, they would find a way to conceal all that. But it is crazy up there. Wow. Boy, Charlie just lays into that ball off the back wall, and even Emmett, who's standing on that side wall, is unable to get it.
Well, Emmett ended up in a yoga pose there, trying to make that retrieve.
Well, it's not good when you're doing a downward dog in the middle of your tiebreaker.
Five, serving 2.
Emmett did well to return that. Here's Charlie's favorite shot.
Hold it.
Oh, another terrible call goes against Emmett, Dave. I know you've taken the oath, but I mean, this is just robbing Emmett of points right now.
I'm just here to watch the scenery.
That is not a shot he wants.
That's not a shot he wants. He's got Charlie pinned, and all he has to do is hit the wall.
I'm going to tell you right now, I want that shot. And I don't
but
even.
You're watching the scenery. I mean, I didn't even know you saw it.
Yeah, I have 2 eyes.
Huh.
Short.
That's the first time we've seen Charlie go to the left on a serve. Hits it short.
Second serve.
Boy, that was a long ball. You can't blame the ref for that.
Circle your scorecard there, Dave.
That is not a good sign when you overhit your second serve.
2, serving 5.
Now we're at 2-5. Oh, Emmett hits a crack, and Charlie goes for the elite roll, but doesn't get it. Ball checks up right corner. Emmett back in the box here with another point.
Charlie Shanks double followed it 5-2. Now 3-5 Emmett serving.
Charlie up to the roof. I'm only calling that roof when Charlie's playing because he's Irish.
Crazy ball there from Charlie. Charlie continues to go for these left-hand shoulder height fly kills, but he's not converting them.
No, but he has great form and it looks good. I mean, we are here in the LA area, so I love that mark on the back wall there. Scuff mark from racquetball rackets.
3, serving 5.
3-5.
Thought you were all about the fusion.
See, he got it that time.
That was amazing.
Is that announcer's curse?
Yeah, that was a great shot.
But he looks good doing it, and he did it that time. Charlie Shanks gets that converted left-handed fly kill.
Well, rare is the moment that Charlie doesn't look good.
He's a good-looking man.
Yeah.
Looks like he should be riding motorcycles
5,
and
serving 3.
appearing in late 50s movies alongside James Dean or Elvis.
Really good shot there.
How many points do you think Paul Haber would get off of Charlie Shanks?
Well,
like
from what
6,
I've heard,
7, 8?
From what I've heard, Shanks would only score about 6 or 7.
Mm.
I'm just going by what
6,
I've heard from the
3.
legends.
Well, what I'm telling you is it would be the opposite. What happened there?
Bad bounce on the floor.
Did Charlie make a swing attempt? I saw the arm come down. I know the rule book says.
Tuck rule.
Okay. Rule book says if you make an attempt at it. This is a setup for Emmett.
Oh my gosh, Dave, and that's what we've seen from Emmett in the past, just somehow making that shocking
But he doesn't
air
need
at the
to
worst.
hit that.
Oh, that was an easy shot for him. It's a shocking air for Emmett.
That's going to put Charlie at 7, Emmett at 3 instead of
8.
Instead of Emmett serving at 3-6.
7-3.
Okay.
Should have been Emmett serving at 3-6. Now 7-3. Winner goes to the
7, serving 3.
semifinals.
Charlie changing his serve here now, Dave.
Oh, what a great change of serve. Crack on the left and a timeout from Emmett Peixoto. 8-3 now. Shanks taking a couple years off to get married and have a baby. And for you traditionalists, it was in that order. And now he's back into handball, and he's playing like he did when he left. So he's back into it. Congratulations to Shanks. Unfortunately, though, for the Peixoto family, their number one idol is not doing well here in the tiebreaker.
Well, they call him the golden child.
Well, TGC is
Thank you.
on the sidelines right now as Charlie Shanks has really picked it up. Now, we watched that first game, and Shanks was like looking, horrible.
Yeah, did not look good.
Emmett looked like he was going to win the tournament.
Yeah.
There were some peoples that thought that Emmett was going to win this tournament. I will not name those names.
No.
And then all of a sudden, here it is. Charlie bringing back 2011, 12.
10 seconds.
Dave, you have to remember, 8-3 deficit for TGC is nothing for Team Edel's TGC. I mean, he's come back from 9-0.
Hashtag TGC, nonetheless. It's actually
already trending.
Yeah, at TGC on Twitter. The Golden Child. TGC here at the SGUOH. That's Simple Green US Open of handball. And now Charlie back in at 8-3 here in game 3.
Score is 8, serving 3.
Big setup for Charlie. Hits it right down the middle.
Emmett does well to defend that.
Slide ball, slide ball. I saw a slide.
Charlie actually saw it.
Charlie had a huge setup there to earn the 9th point, but he hit it right back at Emmett.
Yeah, right down the middle, too.
Yeah, I think he was aiming a little bit lower there.
Serving 3.
Oh my
Whoa,
gosh.
that ball either slid or went just totally away on a reverse hook.
Oh, Charlie's got an amazing hop, Dave. I'm telling you, it's the best serve I've ever seen. I mean, I've been aced by a lot of people, a lot of times, but...
How many do you think? 10,000? Let's look here.
Just this year.
Let's watch this reverse. He's going over the top of this ball, but he's hitting it 80 miles an hour, and that thing went 3 feet to the right, and a fist pump from Shanks.
And Dave, I'll tell you, Shanks saved that serve for that moment. I mean, he hasn't broken out that size hop in this match yet.
I say it's the greatest serve in handball, is that reverse to the right. John Bike and I talked about that earlier.
If you can keep it off the back wall.
Yeah, well, Emmett just tipped it, so it didn't make it to the back wall.
How does Emmett return that?
He
That was
shouldn't
amazing.
have. It's unreturnable.
And he wins the rally, I think, Dave. Wow. And Dave, Emmett returned a serve that was basically impossible to return. I mean, he just stuck both wings out there and swung, got the ball back into play, and wins the rally.
Well, he swung correctly, did the right things with his swings. And now he's back in here. That was an elite shot that Emmett made, by the way, there
3,
too.
serving 9.
Oh, terrible air there from Charlie.
4, serving 9.
And Dave, this is Emmett's comfort zone. Another point. Emmett, Dave, has come back from 9 to 0, 9 to 3.
That's nothing.
No.
Yeah.
5, serving 9.
Charlie will probably need a timeout if he loses this rally. And he does.
He does, and he's going to take one.
Timeout. That's your second one.
All of a sudden, Dane Zatkowski has turned Irish there in his dialect.
Charlie Shanks, Dave, served what looked like an impossible to return bullet down the right at 9-3. Emmett gets it back into play, somehow wins that rally. Now all of a sudden he scored 3 straight points.
It's taken us 25 minutes to score just 14 points in the tiebreaker, and then all of a sudden Emmett scores 3 times in the last 25 seconds. And I don't know how that could even happen, but it does so much in the sport of handball.
That's what he did against Moreno, Dave, as he trailed 9-0, scored 11 straight points in just 5 minutes.
You're watching the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball live from Los Caballeros Sports Village in Fountain Valley, California for the WPH race for 8 stop number 1, elite men and women, which will be coming up next as we have the quarterfinal matches with those top handball women in the game. Do appreciate the fact that you've tuned in here at raceforate.com. It's a tiebreaker. Winner will have the luxury of facing Paul Brady tomorrow in the semifinals. Charlie going back up.
Oh my gosh. That's the second just inexplicable error Emmett's made in this tiebreaker, one with each hand. And that was just a shank right off the bottom of his hand. Saw them do the same thing against Nash in Houston earlier this year, 3 times in the tiebreaker. And Charlie leaves no doubt there, Dave.
Feeling it, I called it good. One agreed, both agrees.
Match point.
10, serving 6.
Match point now for Charlie Shanks.
Here it is, 10-6.
Short.
He goes for the ace as you would expect him to do.
Second serve.
And Charlie's going to get it right here.
He does.
And he does, and a big, huge fist pump from Charlie Shanks. Closing this out, Charlie's going to come back.
A slide. I did not see any slide.
Charlie might have to do another fist pump here if this doesn't get overturned.
He's calling a slide on the serve. I did not see it. Did not see it. Did you see a slide on the serve? No, nobody saw a slide on the serve.
And it's over. Charlie takes down Emma Peixoto and now goes into the semifinals to face Paul Brady.
What a turnaround.
It really is. Emmett was on a roll. Let's watch his instant replay here. This ball slices down the left. Charlie, I thought, had it right there, but
It's a very good shot there from Charlie to end the match.
Let's look at that serve one more time if we can. Back to the director's booth here. It's great looking at Charlie too, by the way. What a great looking dude that is. Charlie Shanks now going into the semifinals. Here's that serve that Peixoto said was a slide. I don't know. You don't see a lot of slide calls on lob serves, but that was a great comeback from Charlie Shanks, who is now officially back. And Emmett is not happy with himself here, who a lot of people felt that Emmett would be the guy to beat in this tournament by the way that he's played, but no, it was Charlie Shanks who came back after that loss in game number 1, and also a late injury time out there with what looked like a groin injury. Charlie is in the booth with us. Charlie, amazing comeback, man. I mean, really in the first game, Emmett was just dominant, and you'd have to admit, out of the guys that you've played recently, he played amazing in that first game, but right there toward the end, you did something. I mean, you got injured, you came back in, and you found that your power serve was working, and it kind of got you into a mindset that you carried into game number 2 and then certainly in the tiebreaker. What happened?
Before we start, I have to say hello to my wife, Mary, and my daughter, Rose. They're watching back home, so hello, Rose.
Yeah. It's by the way, congratulations on becoming a new father, and your baby is absolutely gorgeous, beautiful little baby, and your wife, she's great too. Congratulations on everything that's happened to your whole life. But
Emmett, the first game he was very aggressive. I didn't think Emmett could play that aggressive. Over the years, he's been sort of a methodical player. One of his weaknesses was that he wasn't aggressive enough in around the front, and when he got setups, he was played too safe. That's my opinion. But with this Actilon ball, he's just attacking everything. He's playing very aggressive, and that's why he won Jake Plummer last week, and he's at the top of his game, and he'll be disappointed after that tiebreaker loss, and it swings about. I lost to him in the Nationals there in June, but we're even now this year running so far. So.
Charlie, you were number 1 for a while there. When you were really playing good ball, you were number 1. And then you took the time off with the wife, got married. You now have a baby. She's just a remarkable little child. And then now you're coming back, and people seem to be surprised. I mean, why are people surprised? Like, you're not forgettable.
I guess people want to forget me. No, it was like, I felt even when I went back home after my stint in the States, 2 years in the States, I felt, that I wasn't getting respect even from the Irish players for what I had achieved over here. But I guess there's a lot of young guys coming through, and, in Ireland there's Killian Carroll, there's Dermot Nash, and those guys, they have no respect for anyone in the court. They're very aggressive players, and they're great players, and it's hard to believe they're all under 25. So there's a new breed of handballers coming through, and that's what I struggled with when I went home. A lot of these are new guys I haven't seen. In the 2 years I've been away, they've been progressing very quickly.
But look at them; they're not in the bracket, and you are. Now you're going to face. You're going to face Paul Brady tomorrow, and that is going to be in the bottom bracket of the semifinals. Paul, is in a bottom bracket. First of all, that's a news story in itself. But Charlie, you've been this guy like, Robbie McCarthy, who's also knocking on the door, who says, you know what, if I have to travel 6,000 miles to get to face Paul Brady, I'm going to do it. Okay, so and you're not going to shy away from facing Paul Brady. This is something you actually do want to do, and you do want to face him, right? I mean, this is what you do want to play him before he retires.
I feel like sometimes I'm on Paul Brady's team, because I just seem to beat all the Americans, and then get to Paul, and then he hammers me. So it seems to be I clear the way for him.
You're drafting for.
So that was one thing. I looked at the draw, and I just took away the top half of the bracket, and I just looked at it and I said, Lenning's my quarterfinal, Peixoto's my semi, and Brady's the final. And if I get through that, that'll be a good run. So Paul tomorrow, I got Paul's Paul, and I watched a bit of his game there against Luis Cordova, and he's. I'm finding this ball heavy, switching from the Irish ball back to this. I find it very heavy and sore in the shoulders. But Paul is just, he's slaughtering that ball. He's stepping into it, and he's so it's going to be a very tough game tomorrow.
Now, Paul's not listening right now. At least that's what I'm telling everybody. But, reality is he's listening to this conversation, and he can use anything you say as fuel. So we won't go there. But what are you going to do against Paul tomorrow to at least to try to change it from the past results that you've had? I mean, you can only play every shot like you can play it. But is there something that you think you're going to do to attack Paul? You must have watched what happened with Mondo Ortiz in Salt Lake City and learned something there.
I didn't know. I haven't watched that match, surprisingly, but maybe I'll catch it tonight if it's on Vimeo or YouTube. Brady's Brady. If you're going to try and go in there with a game plan against Brady, what I've learned is you're beat already. You have to go in there with your game and play your game. You can't adjust your game just because it's Paul Brady. You have to go in there and you got to play him. He's 35 now, going 36, so he's getting stiffer and sore as these tournaments go on. So you just got to hope he shows a bit of weakness in there, and if I stay aggressive, go for my shots, go for my serves. Don't start like I started today. Just go after it. Then we'll see what happens.
Let's talk about what happened today. You played against Emmett, and it really, you do say this, that he was playing aggressive, obviously. But then you switched to your hard serve. Why didn't you come out of the gate with your hard serve?
Very stiff and sore after last night's 2 games yesterday. For some reason, I felt good last night. I felt good this morning. And then when I started doing my warm-up, I was really stiff and sore, and my groin was stiff, and it was painful in there. So I think I just struggled to get into it, and then with the courts being so warm, the muscles just loosened out. As the first game went on, the muscles loosened out, and I got into the zone and started playing my game. If you play your game, you have to have confidence in your own game. So I think I'll take that out from this match today. That if I go and play my game, even Peixoto, who's a great getter, great retriever of serves, he struggled in there. So
yeah, he is a great retriever. You were feeling some kind of pain out here. We saw you get a massage here with a trainer. One of your close Irishmen came over and helped you out here. And I was reading your lips. You said, "I feel much better." But you played much better after that rub down that you got. Is it a growing injury, or is it a cramp, or what is going on?
I'm not sure. I've been working on a lot of mobility in around my hips, and I feel like I've got the extra mobility, but maybe not the strength there in it yet. And I think what happened was the muscle isn't strong enough in the hip mobility range I have, and for some reason it just stiffened up today. And once it was more of like a knot in the muscle, and once I got that out, it was good to go.
I had another question here, and this is just coming in from somebody on Twitter that was asking, why are you in the top 2 or 3 in the game of revolving door shots? How can a big, tall 6'3", 6'4" guy hit a ball around a revolving door, around the right corner to the left with your right, as consistently flat and low as you have, when a lot of the other tall guys just aren't able to do that? I'm
6'4" when I'm wearing stilettos. Okay. No, 6'1" I am. But yeah, it's like any shot. If you practice it often enough, for some reason, I've practiced that shot, and once I see that ball coming around, I'm happy.
You like it, right?
Yeah. It's you get that little bounce on your step and your stride, and it just it's one of those shots you feel good at. So let's hope Paul hits plenty of them tomorrow.
Tomorrow, when you do play Paul Brady in the bottom bracket of that semifinal, you'll have a chance to go to the finals, which you were previously a year or 2 ago. You were actually in the finals of this tournament. Here, you were ranked 10th in the seeds, I believe.
10th.
I think you were seeded 10th in this tournament. I'm not quite sure, but in my memory, I thought I saw that. When you saw those seeds, you say, wait a second, I'm not getting the respect, or you say, wait, I've been out of the game for almost 2 years.
Yeah, well, it was a combination of both. Last year was pretty much a write-off. I tried to play tournaments, but the reality was I still had the nerd trapment on my back and my glute, and that was a big hinder to my training, a big hinder to actually playing matches. So I had to take it on the chin. You're out a year, I've even had to take it when I went back to Ireland after New York when I was feeling good. I've no ranking in Ireland, and now I have no ranking over here. But
But you're still making the.
I can still play.
Yeah, you're sending a message to some of those young guys. By the way, you were bringing it up earlier. We're talking to Charlie Shanks from Belfast in the north of Ireland, and Owen Ard St. Paul's club, and I know you.
Clan Aaron is my club, yeah.
Clan Aaron,
yeah.
Right? Okay. Also your club. Watching back at home, want to say hello to them. But
yeah,
Charlie, you talk about those young guys. I was able to talk to Paul Brady just about 3 days ago in Tucson, Arizona. He spent a couple days there, kind of a zen moment for him, where he wanted to go there and just kind of relax, not really play handball. But he said that there's 3 guys back in Ireland right now that are kind of stepping it up in their early 20s: Martin Mulcairns, Dermot Nash, and Killian Carroll. And you played against, watched, these guys. Do you feel that handball's in pretty good hands as you start to get older and you look and say, hey, we've got 3, really nice guys too, by the way. They're really good people as well as good competitors.
Yeah, I suppose whenever I was coming through with Michael Gregan and Noel McHugh. And unfortunately, Noel didn't make it through injury to put him out of the game. But me and Michael found that, Paul and Tony and Owen were 3 or 4 years older than us, and we were always chasing them, and we could never quite establish ourselves. But these guys, I feel, are coming along at the right time. Tony's gone, and Owen's. I don't want to preempt it, but Owen's is coming to the end of his career, and Paul arguably could maybe another 2 years. And so these guys are coming at the right time, and they're going to win tournaments. Like Gillian Carroll won the Golden Gloves 2 weeks ago. So they're going to win tournaments, they're going to get confidence, and they're going to be flying in the next few years. And
then you have that great Robbie McCarthy, who's just kind of lingering in between the long alley, the big alley, and then 4-wall whenever he decides to do what he wants to do. He's kind of a tweener, he's between the Killian Carrolls and the Charlie Shanks.
Well, I suppose, Robbie, I don't want to talk about myself too much, but Robbie and myself we probably didn't get enough credit when we were playing well. Because Paul was always winning. What tournaments could we win? Paul was there for the All-Irelands, he was there for the Nationals, he was over here for the big tournaments, so we were always in his shadow. And I suppose when he steps down, then someone's got to step up, and it's just a case of who that's going to be. Among, I'd say maybe Robbie or myself might pick up a few wins and then finally call it a day. And then the young guys will, step up to the plate, whether it be McCairns, Gillian Carroll or Nash. And those 3 guys, I'm trying to think if there's anyone else. I don't think there's anyone else, but those 3 guys are, they're coming strong. They're, next couple of years they're going to be unbelievable. They're just, I suppose when we were coming through, we were never really physically fit. We had to go away and work on that in a 4 or 5 years into playing handball. Whereas these guys are coming through and they're flying fit. They're strong. They're not struggling in there when they go in against Paul and myself or Robbie. They're physically able to stand the pace. It's just their handball experience that they need to expand on. So those 3 guys, keep a close eye on them.
And not just the guys. You obviously are in the men's bracket, but not just the guys, but the women players are stepping up as well. We have it's in good hands. We have Ashleen Riley and Katrina Casey, and then Katrina said there's a couple people on her radar that are slightly younger than her that are pretty amazing as well. So
there's a few girls actually from my club, Clan Aaron, and I was trying to get Ashleen to play them a few games before coming over here, and I'd say in the next few years, if they want to concentrate on handball, don't be surprised if you see a few girls over here playing from Clan Aaron wearing their orange jerseys, because they've definitely got the talent. Not only in my club, and you go to Roscommon, you all over Ireland, they're cropping up everywhere.
Well, it's a good state for handball, good place, and we want to, first of all, we want to appreciate you. You're the first guy to be in the booth, and the reason why is because of some of the things that you've said earlier, and that's that you've made it to this place, you've knocked on the door, you've opened the door, and people don't even remember you were at the door. So it's really odd, and we want to first of all say thanks for your great play. We appreciate what you bring to the table, and
thanks to WPH as well for broadcasting this event and promoting it. In Ireland, it's a lot of the guys are back home watching. They love their handball, they love watching it. A lot of the older guys as well. So it's unique that they can be watching this 6,000 miles away, and and as you can see this year, there's like 30 hours there. I remember looking at the bracket and seeing so many hours, I was thinking, that's all of the webcast, and people see people see what's going on over here and they want to come over, they want to sample it.
Yep. Well, we appreciate you putting on a good show for us. And congratulations making it to the semifinals. Charlie Shanks from Belfast coming out here and defeating E Ft Peixoto to go into the semifinals for tomorrow's big matchup against Paul Brady. Charlie, congratulations on the win. I know sitting in this chair after playing is actually not a good thing. We're going to let you go stretch and try to work out those things that will happen to you tomorrow. You'll feel it. Congratulations on that win. Charlie Shanks taking down E Ft Peixoto in 3. And he now moves on. It's the Simple Green U.S. Open of Handball and WPH Race for 8 stop number 1, Men's Elite. We are going to take a quick break. We have a women's match, quarterfinal match coming up with Courtney Peixoto making a comeback into professional handball. The sister of E Ft Peixoto. She'll be coming up next. And we'll watch that here live at racefor8.com. Thanks for tuning in.
Get a remarkable clean with non-toxic and biodegradable Simple Green all-purpose cleaner. Use straight from the bottle on heavy grime or dilute the concentrated formula to make up to 44 bottles of daily cleaner. Safe for all washable surfaces, Simple Green can be used indoors and out. From kitchens and bathrooms to living and play areas, countertops and floors to furniture and clothing. Keep your home and our world clean with Simple Green.